So guys, it's Kezin. We are back with part 2 of my zone leveling guide. This one's going to be for level ranges on average about level 10 to level 20. And the first zone we're going to talk about is Kurn's Tower. You can come here, maybe level 8, level 9, maybe a little bit later than that if you want. It's in Field of Bone, and Field of Bone is a really good experience area as well. So you kind of come over here when you feel comfortable. But if you see the zone in here, the mobs range from maybe level 7 to level 8, and some of them are as high as like 13 or 14. There is some variance here. And if you don't know, I have a zone leveling guide on my website. Let's take a look at that real quick. If you don't know how to get here, you go to the menu in the top right, go down to zone leveling guide, and this giant table will show up with every zone in the game up until Omens of War. And here's Kurn's Tower right here. You'll see I got it listed 5 out of 5 potions. This is a really good spot. And if you click on the actual map, you'll see it has the level of the mobs in the zone. So on the main floor, the mobs are on average 8 to 16. On the second floor, on average, they're 11 to 16. Up on the third floor and the top floor, they're 9 to 16. And sometimes you'll see maybe some a little bit higher than that. But generally, the top 3 floors are going to be kind of similar. And then once you get a little bit higher, once you maybe hit like 11 or 12, you can actually go down to the basement, and there's these Runnyeyes, and they are level 12 to 17 on average, and sometimes you'll see one a little bit higher. So let's get back to the actual zone here, and we'll talk about it. So the good thing here about the about Kurn's is, number one, it's attached to Field of Bone, which is also a great leveling place. And number two, a lot of the mobs here on the main floor on up are all undead, so that means they're not going to run away from you, which makes it a good power leveling spot. One thing to note if you do power level here is if you pull too many, they do leash pretty easily in this zone. So you kind of just, if you pull, say I have, you know, 10 or 15 skeletons on me, I'm just going to want to move really slow to make sure those skeletons don't leash while I'm pulling. And then, you know, once you get a little bit higher, 11, 12, or just whenever you feel like you can handle it, based on if you're soloing or if you're in a group, you can come down here to the basement, and it's a little bit higher zone down here. You'll find these Bernie guys. These guys are level 10, level 12. They're just a little bit higher than the skeletons. And I like to come down here just if I have like damage shield or a fast killing group. Like here's some up to 12 to 14 up here. They're getting a little bit higher. And this is a really good zone. Maybe up to like level 16 or so, then you'll probably want to leave. And yeah, so this is the first zone for our 10 to 20 level range. Let's talk about the next one. So we're over here in Lavastorm Mountains, and you kind of want to stay on the bottom half of the zone. This is a good area for like levels 10 to 16 or so. And there's just a lot of enemies that kind of just roam around. And you can single pull these. You can come here with a small group. You could even power level here if you want, but if you pull too much at once, you may be you may have a little bit of downtime while you're waiting on respawns, but you can power level here. And you'll see there's just like spiders and stuff all over the place. So yeah, this down here, this bottom half, really good. And let's take a look at the map, and you can kind of get an idea of the level ranges. I'm on the bottom half here. On average, they're somewhere between 9 and 16. Most mobs you can probably see are probably like 11 to 14. And you can come up here if you want to stay a little bit longer than 16. There's some skeleton camps over here, but they can get kind of high. And it's just like a hilly, inconvenient place to camp. So it's easy to get trains. It's easy to get lost. So if you want to come up here, you can. I don't really recommend it though. Me personally, I would just stay down here in this part. And then once the mobs start turning blue, I would move on. So yeah, that's Lavastorm. And we're going to head over to our neighbor in Najena right here. And we'll talk about that. Najena is kind of a runner-up. I would only recommend coming here maybe if you're stuck on Classic or you just don't have a lot of resources. It's just convenient maybe if you're like a Dark Elf, but if you're not a Dark Elf or you're not already leveling up in Nectalos Forest, I probably wouldn't bother coming over here, but since it's close, we'll bring it up, and it's kind of in the same level range. It's just, you know, you just kind of work your way through the zone. It's just like a small little dungeon. You can bring a group. You can maybe like duo or trio the zone in under geared pretty safely. And yeah, you just kind of work your way through here. And let's bring the map up for this one. Here it is. And you'll see the beginning. It's kind of like level 8 to 13. And it gets a little bit higher. You got some of like, you can maybe do your high teens back down here in the jail area. or you can do the goblin camps. I think there's the goblin camps up there. Go up there a little bit higher and kind of like in the general stairs. It's like high teens here as well. And you got some level 20-ish mobs too, so after you're done with Lavastorm, maybe you want to come back here and camp some of this, or camp some of this over here, especially if you're in a group and you don't want to travel very far, and everyone's maybe starting out level Lavastorm. You just go one zone over. Now for the most obvious zone, everybody knows, Estate of Unrest. You can come here, started probably level 10 or so, all these mobs out in the field. They're all about level 10, maybe level 12, something like that. And the further you get into the castle, the higher the mobs are. You can actually stay here all the way until level 30. So when I copy pasta this clip into the 20 through 30 video, don't be surprised. And you'll see as we go in here, we'll just start at this little, let me go in this so I don't get accurate, but you see in here, they're like level 16, level 13. And then the upper floors get a little bit higher. If I can find it, I think it's over here. Here's the upper floors. And you'll see these guys up here, 23, 21. So, and you can go up even higher. What level is this guy? Level 30. So yeah, that goes all the way up to 30 up here. And then another thing you can do is once you get a higher level too, once you start out leveling like the main, inside the castle, you can go down into the basement. And down there is a really good camp for up to probably 30 or so. If you're in like classic and you don't have any expansions out yet, this is probably one of the best spots in the game to level up. So you see these guys are like level 25, and you keep going down here. Yeah, so like level 20, and you can actually keep going all the way down. I think the mobs probably go to like high 20s or something like that. So you can potentially stay here all the way to level 30. Maybe if you really want to push it, you could probably do 31 or 32. What's really awesome about Unrest is there's always lots of people here. When you're leveling up on a TLP, you can solo here, you can duo here, you can have an entire group and start smashing stuff up. It's good for power leveling. If the zone is empty, you can pretty much pull the entire zone in one pull. It's just an awesome zone all around. It's one of the best EXP zones in the game. I almost forgot to go over the map. We'll just go over it real quick. You'll see out in the fields out here, the mobs are generally 10 to 14. The main floor, they're about 13 to 20. The second floor, they're 21 to 27. And down in the basement, they're 24 up to 33, but most of them are 27 to level 30. So we're over here in Paludal Caverns, and this zone has one of the highest zone modifiers in the game. You're gonna notice when you kill something here, you're gonna get, seems like you're gonna get unusually more experience than you would normally get out of other zones. One downside though is the mobs are kind of spread out. So it's not really good for mass power leveling, but if you're kind of doing some slow paced power leveling, that's a really good place. And also it's good for small groups, but I would not recommend generally to have a full group here. There are two camps that are okay for a full group though. One of them is this tents that you see up ahead, and that's kind of right here on the map. And then there's another camp of tents right up here. So those are going to be like your two main full group spots. Otherwise you're going to be kind of roaming around and kills are going to be kind of sparse, and you're going to have to kind of like just run around a lot in general. And let's take a look at the map and we can get an idea of the level range here. Okay, so here's the map, and you'll see you can actually come here earlier if you want. Like down here there's kind of like a low level area. I don't even remember what zone connects to that. What is it? Shadeweaver's Thicket. So maybe if you're a Bashir or something, maybe you come over here. But there's like level 5 to 10s down here. And the highest areas of the zone are going to be those two camps. The mobs there are generally 16 to 20. And like a lot of the roamers, they're somewhere between like 12 and 17 for the most part. And you just kind of do like some dungeon crawling here. But since the experience modifier is so good, this is a really good option. A lot of people come here. So a little bit less popular zone for lower levels, unless maybe you're just only in classic Everquest, is Ocean of Tears. There's a lot of different islands here, and they all have like different level NPCs on it. Let's pull up the map real quick and talk about those. So the one we're on right now is this Goblin Island, and on average these goblins are level 14 to 20, and you can kind of just run around here, run around the outskirts of it, and there's like a lot of goblins all out here. So this is like might be okay for a small group. There's actually like some level 76 guys here. Those might be just because I'm on live though, but these goblins, you know, there's all around the outskirts. You'll see some of those level 16 up here. You can kind of just go around the outside of the island and it's a really good camp out here. And even on the inside, you'll see some camps with some goblins here too. So this is a really good spot. And then also, once you get a little bit higher, there's some skeletons on the island right next to it. And these are level 18 to 20 on the outside. The middle are specters, which are higher level, so you're going to need to avoid those. But the outside is really good too. And then way over here on the west side of the zone, you have like 2 level ranges. You got the Aviacs, which are 9 to 11, kind of on the outside. And on the inner side of this island, I don't know what kind of NPCs there are. I think there might be Aviacs there too. But they're level 13 to 19. And that island is completely packed with mobs. So we know what this goblin island looks like. So let's go over to the skeletons and let's go over to the Aviacs. So we're over here at the skeleton island now. And like I said, these are level 18 to 20 or so. And you see they're just kind of all over the place. As long as you stay on the outside of the zone here, this is a really good spot for like small groups or soloers. As long as you can pull singles, you're not afraid of like training yourself. But there's the skeletons spread out all around here. There's just tons of them. And again, that island is this one right here. So I'm going to run all the way over here, and then we'll show you this island as well. Over here at the Aviac Island now, on the west side of Ocean of Tears. And again, let's bring the map up one more second so we can get a refresher. And you'll see it's about level 9 to 11 on the outside, and the inside is somewhere between, the mobs are somewhere between 13 and 19. And we're just going to run around here. And you can kind of see it's kind of similar to the Skeleton Island. These Aviacs are just kind of spread all around. And you could probably bring a whole group here, honestly, because the odds of another group being here are generally going to be pretty low. And these are all, you know, 9 to 11, like I said. And then once you get a little bit higher level, you can move closer into the middle. And there's some Aviacs up here. This guy's actually level 21 up here at the very top. And yeah, you'll see like some 14s, some 21s at the very top. But if you go kind of not all the way up the mountain, but somewhat up, you'll see 19s, 14s. And it's the same here. It's just like another perch for the birds. And they're just a little bit stronger as you go in. Next up is Lake of Ill Omen. There is a nice spot right here on the east side of the zone for the high teens to like really low 20s. There's some roamers here. You'll see these XRs, 17, 16, 18. And there's also like the Goblin Fort here. And some of these guys are like, highest you're gonna find them is probably like low 20s. This guy's 23, but then you got like 20, 20, 17, 19. So kind of in that range, all basically right around level 20 or so. And once you finish here, let's bring the map up. This is where I'm at right now. And then once you're done with that, you can go over to the Saranac Fort and like all the roamers around here on the west side of the lake. These are all, you know, in the level 20 to 25 range. And this is all really good experience spot over here. And maybe if this area is like super camped and your server is busy, you could potentially come up here to the Goblin Caves. It's kind of the same-ish levels up here. It's not as popular to come up here, but that is an option. But if you look at Lake of Ill Omen as a whole, like if you're like an XR and you zone out here, you can actually go level 1 to 2, all the way to 6, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. You can like level all the way up to like the mid-20s in Lake of Ill Omen if you wanted to. So this is a really nice zone in general. I think they did a good job designing it. But yeah, so let's talk about the next one. So I'm over here in Runnyeye now. And this is a decent option because it's kind of isolated from a lot of the other dungeons. So I wanted to throw this in here just because of the location of where it's at in the game. And it's not like the best dungeon in the game, but it's certainly not the worst. So if you have like a small group and maybe a lot of the other zones are really busy, this place is an okay place to get experience. I would run around here, but the whole zone kind of looks the same in a way. There's kind of no point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a map, and you're going to see floor number 1 over here. The mobs are kind of level 7 to 12-ish in that range. Then it kind of just slowly scales up into like the low 20s. So these two are probably going to be your sweet spots for like the 10 to 20 video. And if you really want to keep going, you can go to floor number 4. And you can probably get up to like the mid-20s over here or something like that. But I thought this was a good option to throw in. A lot of people don't think about Runnyeye just because it's kind of isolated. I did want to mention I would recommend coming here with like a small group or maybe a full group potentially. If you come here by yourself, you're probably going to like forget to snare something, or maybe your viz is going to break. And if you're like on a new character or you're new to the game, you're probably going to die from some stupid thing that you can't anticipate. So it'd be a lot safer to crawl around here in a small group. One more zone to mention is South Row. And we'll get the map pulled up. So the bottom part of South Row is like 6 to 12 on average, and most of them are somewhere between 8 and 11. And you got to watch out for sand giants in this zone because you're going to see some sand giants roaming around. Also, there's some sand giants up here in the corner, so just make sure you avoid that. On the northern part of South Row, which is formerly the Oasis, a little bit higher up here, you're going to see stuff anywhere from 9 to 18, but most of it is 11 to 15. And you can actually do both groups or you can solo here, so this is just like an overall a great zone. Yeah, if we run around the zone here, you know, you're just going to see stuff that's kind of just like running all over the place. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty decent zone. You can power level here if you want to. You're not going to be able to like pull like 100 mobs at once, probably, just because stuff's really spread out. But yeah, it's a really good zone for like soloing, grouping. You can have a whole group here if you wanted, you know, be over here AFK against the wall and just pull stuff casually, maybe while you're doing other stuff in the background. And once you get a little bit higher, you can come over here to like the old Far Oasis version. You're going to see this stuff here is kind of like anywhere from like 12. I saw an orc that was like 20. So here it's kind of like the mid-teens. And you know, you can just kind of work your way up here a little bit. The specs on the isle out here, these are like in the 30s, so just make sure you don't go out there and get yourself killed. But yeah, South Row is like a really good zones because there's like lots of mobs spread out all over the place, and there's plenty of room for everybody. So that's the whole guide for this one. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So that's the whole guide for this one. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.